Hello world, Shelly here, and today I have got the big announcement that I've been talking about. I know I've been behind this past week, but it's worth it if you want the short version. I'm announcing my eyeshadow color picker app. I'm going to demonstrate it using Mel Thompson's Tiny Marvels palette, her collab with Sydney Grace. Rest in peace, Mel. You are fantastic and I miss your inspiration so much. How I got this eye look. So, the short version. I'm launching the app over on Patreon along with a couple of different tiers of additional content that you can get in addition to what I already do here on YouTube. This is not changing. The foundation spreadsheet is not changing. It's all going to be there. And I'm doing some new stuff, including my eyeshadow app that we're going to kick off with this. So if you want to see a demonstration of the app, get all the information, see how I got the eye look that I'm wearing that my app generated, stick around for the long-winded explanation with why Patreon, why not the YouTube membership join feature, and so on and so forth. And if you want the short version, check the links in the description box. Go to patreon.com/geekoutofwater to get all the details. Let's get into this. Doodaloo, 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 back in time. Cool, huh? So I figure what you guys most want to see is the eyeshadow app and how it works. So I'm going to hopefully put on the screen what I'm looking at on my phone. We are going to pull up and roll a look with the first version of the app that anyone is getting to see. Then as I do this eyeshadow look, I will talk about why I'm doing this, what I'm doing, how you can get access to this, what else is available, and where we go from here. Right, Ziva? Ziva. Using the Tiny Marvels palette. This was the palette that Mel Thompson created in collaboration with Sydney Grace. I missed it the first time around. I had not picked it up, mainly because it seemed more on the warm tone side. And if you've been watching my recent videos, Mel has come up several times. She's been on my mind a lot lately. Rest in peace, Mel Thompson. And she was a really big source of inspiration for me, of confidence for me, in a way that still maintained vulnerability. Like, that is what really attracted me to her personality. Never mind her absolutely gorgeous makeup and just beautiful eye looks. So I finally picked up the Tiny Marvels palette, and if I remember reading correctly, when she passed away, she still gets all of the revenues from the sales of this palette as well as revenues from watching her videos on YouTube. So I went and I watched a few videos of her doing eye looks with it. So in honor of Mel, I'm going to do my first public eye look with my app using her palette. It is a gorgeous palette. I've only worn it one time. That was earlier this week, and it's beautiful like her. So let's talk about the app. It's currently called Roll-A-Look. I don't know if I'll keep that. You know, I like to gamble. I love playing craps, so dice are in my wheelhouse. I've got this on my phone. I prefer to use it on the computer, but it does work both on mobile and desktop devices. The version right now has 5 palettes in it. I plan to be adding palettes to it every single week. Right now we've got the ABH Norvina, the Pat McGrath Mothership Utopian Dream, ColourPop Stone Cold Fox, Natasha Denona Retro, and Mel's Tiny Marvels palette. And this will be updated constantly. I'm going to continue to add palettes. Now, I had asked you guys in a community thread and on my Instagram what palettes you wanted to see. So the palettes that I have chosen thus far came from that list, and I'm still working through that list. So I'm going to select Mel's Tiny Marvels palette, and what it's going to give me is one question. What shade do I want for my main lid color? And I had not decided what I want to do. The shade called Scarab, I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. It's a duochrome and it's gorgeous, but it's like every eye look I do, if there is a shade that looks like that in the palette, I always pick it because it's just my favorite thing. So I'm going to not pick that because that's what all my eye looks look like. And I think I'm going to go with Marvel. Now, when you go to pick, each one of the options will show you a swatch of the color. And, you know, you might have the palette next to you, you might not. I would think you're probably doing this while you're sitting down to do your makeup. I think I'm going to pick, it's between Meadowhawk and Marvel. Let's go with Marvel. I'm going to pick Marvel. And then you hit the Color Me button, and it is going to tell me what shades to use on my transition, inner third, crease, outer third, and the color I chose for the lid, Marvel. This looks like it is going neutral. So here is what it is suggesting. Now, right now, this currently uses the triad relationship of colors on the color wheel. One of the next features I want to add to this, aside from adding more palettes, is to add more color relationships so that it will be choosing colors that fall in a complementary palette, in a monochrome palette selection. So right now it's picking triads, and this is like a straight up neutral look. All right, let's do. I'm rolling it. I rolled it. That's what it says I'm gonna do. So this app, if you've been around for a minute, you know I've been talking about this for, I've been working on it for a couple of years. And not that I've been working on it for a couple of years straight, because I do have a full-time job and that takes a lot of my time. And so it's been an on-again, off-again project that I've been working to get to the point where I can share it with people. And we're at that point. It's here we are. I do have many more ideas to go with this palette or with this app. Wow, this is like Ziva. For example, turning it into a full-fledged app where you can save all of your palettes and then do searches for eye looks with shades that are only within palettes that you own, things like that. So I've got big plans for this. All right, let's get started. This says, I like to do my transition first, and it says Flutterby will be the transition shade, so that peachy shade over here. This is good because I haven't used most of these shades in the one time that I wore this palette already. Now, I did prime my lids with the MAC Paint Pot in Painterly, so that happened. So the purpose of this app is really to help you pick colors in an eyeshadow palette that have good color theory relationships so that you can pretty much guarantee you're going to get an eye look that works out, you know, with that palette. Now, some palettes are arranged physically, laid out such that you can use the rows and the columns or the quads in the palette to come up with eye looks, and that's often how I start when I start working with a new palette. But this will take the guesswork out of it if you don't want to have to decide, you know, do these colors work together or not. It also gives a bit of randomization. So if you're just like, I just want to do something different and different than normal, like I did today, I'm like, I know what I always gravitate toward. It's always the purples and the duochromes. Let's do something different. So it gives you that option, and it also can just get you out of your comfort zone and trying new things and having some fun with makeup. You gotta get down. You gotta get down, Ziva, baby. You are being cray-cray today. All right, now I'm gonna get, that was my Wayne Goss number 3. Now I'm gonna get my Sigma E25. I'm gonna clean it off in my color switch. My brushes need to be washed so badly. So badly. All right, so it is saying that I should use Spider both in the crease and the outer third. So I am going to use my Sigma E25 for that. Since it's a pretty dark shade, I'm going to start out really light. I haven't used this shade yet either. And I'm going to kind of go for a smoky eye sort of a situation will be my plan. Now, I had watched Mel do eye looks with this palette, and she was able to smoke it out super nicely. And it just took, you know, the patience of blending and being new to this eyeshadow formula. I, from watching her, think that is exactly how it performs. It's really a nice blendable type of a matte. The shimmers are gorgeous. I already knew that because I had purchased a couple of Sydney Grace duochromes in the past, and they're beautiful. So I'm starting with the crease. I will come back with one of my smaller Wayne Goss brushes and do some more blending. This is just to get the deepest of the shade into my crease. So how am I going to make this app available? That is a good question. I have started a Patreon. If you're not familiar with Patreon, it is where you can subscribe to different creators, and there are different tiers that have different prices and different perks associated with each tier. And you may be familiar with YouTube's version of this, the join button on some channels. I do have a join button enabled on my channel. I only have 2 tiers on my YouTube, and part of the reason why I was kind of waiting on launching this and getting this out to the public was YouTube had said that they were going to do a lot of updates to the join feature to memberships in 2022. And they did a few things, like they allow you to gift memberships and things like that. But the problem is that everything is on YouTube. So there's no means to provide content outside of YouTube. And I have video content and live streams. I'm planning to go live more often on my channel, not affiliated with Patreon, just for free out in the world on YouTube. But most of the things I want to offer you, the value added things that I think I can bring to the table with my web development background and my makeup background and all of that, it's not videos. It's this app. It's other apps. It's building upon the foundation spreadsheet, which is on my website. It's stuff that I can't offer you in a video. It's stuff that is outside of YouTube. And there's currently no way to allow you to access things like that tied into the join feature. So another thing about the join feature, I'm using the same color spider. This is my Smith 253. The other thing about the YouTube join feature is that YouTube keeps 30% of whatever fee you are paying. So those of you that have joined my channel, thank you so much. You are my favorite awesome people on the planet because you are helping me to grow my dream of being a full-time entrepreneur, doing this, creating tools and apps and makeup content and beauty content, and that's my dream. That is my dream. You're helping me. YouTube keeps 30%. Patreon keeps anywhere from 5 to 12%. That is a lot less than 30%. So when you are paying that join fee, that membership fee on YouTube, I'm not getting all of that. I'm not getting a good chunk of that. It's going to YouTube. So that fee structure is another thing that eventually made me go to Patreon. Now, I'm not going to get rid of the join feature. However, I'm not going to be able to offer the other features like this app through the join feature because there's no way for me to tie them together. The only things I can offer through YouTube are things that are on my channel and not on my website. Patreon, I can tie it into my website, and that gives me the flexibility to do things like this app. So the join feature will remain, but it's not going to have a tier that allows access to this app. If you want access to the app, you'll have to do it through Patreon. So Patreon takes a much smaller fee for access to these things, and that just benefits creators. The creator gets more money in their pocket from what has been done, and the money that goes into my pocket is for running all these things, building all these things, and hopefully eventually moving into this full time. All right, next color. We need, so my lid shade is the one I picked, Marvel, which is this sort of a gold shimmer. That's not gold. Why did I call that gold? I don't know. It's like peachy. It's like a peachy shimmer. Gold is right above it. Yeah, my brain is... I'm filming this in the evening time, and my brain is very tired. Same brush, Smith 253. I'm going to use this on the lid. I'm not going to go all the way to my inner third because I have another shade here for that. So yes, these will be available on Patreon, the access to the app. I do have a demo version that has 2 palettes available, and I will link that down below if you want to check out how it works. These colors, of course these colors go so well together. Mel is just... I miss her. I did not know her personally. I know sometimes I talk about her like I knew her, but I didn't. I only knew her through YouTube. And she just resonated with me. Her death really hit me, and she just really resonated with me. Or I resonated with her. What's the proper way to say that? I don't even know. So, that's a beautiful color. I'm just going to wiggle back and forth on the edges here, and I'm going to get a little more of Spider to blend them together. I will come back in with my Wayne Goss 20, but just a little bit of blending. Just a little bit. So, what else is going to happen with the app and all of this stuff that I'm doing? So like I said, the next thing I want to do with the app is more color relationships. So adding in complementary colors and monochrome. Let's do the inner third. It's that bright web at the corner. And that will be the future of the immediate future. Adding more palettes and adding more color relationships. And the next step future will be, once I have that going and I have a good number of palettes in here, like I would like to get to the point where there's like 20, 30, 40, 50 palettes in this thing. And at that point, I want to switch over to improving my foundation tools. So right now I give you guys the spreadsheet, right? Spreadsheet's always going to be free with all my foundation reviews ranked with all the scores and the data, all that stuff. But if you've used my spreadsheet, geekoutofwater.com, click the Foundation Fest link. There's a ranked, sortable, searchable spreadsheet of all my foundation reviews. How many times have you heard me say that? I've got over 300 reviews on there right now. And I'm approaching, what day is today? Before the end of this month is my 7-year anniversary on YouTube, which blows my mind. I can't even believe that. So the foundation spreadsheet will always be free. It will always be available. It will always be, I'll add to it, update it, etc., etc., etc. What I want to do, next step that would be in this sort of Patreon world, is make it more customized to you. Make it more useful. I'm looking for my Wayne Goss number 5. I don't have anything for the lower lash line, but I usually use the same color that I use on my outer third. So I'm going to do that. and just take a little bit of spider on my lower lash line. So the things that I want to add to the foundation spreadsheet, instead of it being just a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet's searchable, but instead of it just being searchable, where you can just kind of search one thing at a time and get results, I mean, that's fine, that's good. It's served us well for a long time now. But what I really want to do is make it so that you can, okay, so let's say you are like, okay, I have a wedding to go to, so I need full coverage, all day wear, 14 hour plus wear. I need a satin finish, not too dewy, not too matte, and the default will always make the assumption that we're going for maturing skin, right? So I want you to be able to select all those things and have it pump out recommendations for you. I also want to improve the swatching so that not only will swatches be included in the results, but I want you to be able to pick and compare a handful of swatches that meet your criteria and, you know, come up with a conclusion. So once we get to that point, that would be like my next step. Once I flesh out the eyeshadow app a bit more, that would be where I'm going next. So Wayne Goss number 20, like I said, I'm going to go back in with the Flutterby shade, that light shade that we started with, and I'm gonna just amp up the transition above my crease just a smidge and blend it out on the end just a little, and do the same thing over here. So that is like next steps for paid content. And all the free stuff, the videos, the reviews, the foundation spreadsheet, like none of that's going to go away. And in fact, I plan to increase things like live streams, things that I've wanted to do more of that I haven't been able to do. I'm taking a little bit more of spider to just deepen the deeper part of the crease and the outer 7. Thank you to Nisha from Sugar Puff and Fluff for that concept of the outer 7 instead of an outer V. It really helps me to keep lifting my outer corner so I don't get droopy, which is one of those things that you start having issues with as gravity and age come at you. Come at me, bro. Come at me. A little more Flutterby because I went too high. I went too high and got too dark. That's okay. We're fixing it. We're fixing it. So then what? Some of the other things that I'm planning. So I want to give or create, and this is kind of where I will get my fix of teaching if I get to the point where I'm no longer formally teaching in academia. I want to get into making some educational content and more educational tools. So how can you choose the right skincare ingredients for you? How can you put together a skincare routine that suits, you know, the things that you particularly need? Not necessarily, you know, I'm not a dermatologist. I can't give advice in that regard, but what I can do is help you work through the system that helped me find my system. You know what I'm saying? The processes that I went through and the trial and error that I went through, I can help save you the time of not having so much trial and error and using a process that gets you to your results more quickly and hopefully with less expense, less hassle, less frustration, less wasted time, less testing, you know. All right, this is a Crown Brush C513. I don't have a brow bone highlight or an inner corner highlight, but I'm going to use that web shade and highlight my brow arch here. Mel always had a kickin' banging brow arch highlight that I was always envious of, because I just felt like it took courage to bang up those brows and be all blingy up there. And now that I've started doing it, basically because she was doing it, I'm like, heck yeah. I mean, boom, lift. So good. Get some inner corner. My nails are a little too long. I usually use my pinky finger, but then I started stabbing myself in the eye. That's how you know your nails are too long, when you start stabbing yourself. So I want to start building on different tools, some of which will be free, some of which will be available through Patreon for patrons only, that help you. Okay, so here's my like slogan for all of this. And this is coming, this is who I am. This is in my heart. It's how I feel about what makeup does for me and what a good skincare routine does for me and how it makes me feel. Be yourself, love yourself, take care of each other. That's my slogan. That is what all of this is for. It helps me express myself. It helps me put my face on when I need my war paint for a rough day, or my fancy, happy, creative, colorful paint for a happy, fun day. Like, whatever it is, it helps me be myself. I then feel more put together. I feel more confident. I feel more me, and that helps me love myself. But this isn't just about us. It's about all of us. It's not just me. It's not just you. It's not just her. It's not just him. It's not just them. It's all of us. And if we take care of each other and support each other, we have such an awesome community here. And that is pretty much what has inspired me to want to do more of all this stuff. That's kind of where I'm at with all this. That's what's driving all this. KVD cake liner, which is almost empty. I'm basically stabbing myself in the eye right now. Do a little tight line up here. So that is where all of this is coming from in my heart. It is, I just would love for all of us to feel that freedom to be ourselves, and that freedom to express ourselves this way, through makeup, through beauty, through skincare, through healthy skincare routines, and you know, I love this stuff. And I love you guys. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm still here 7 years later. 7 years later. Holy cow. I will be doing, I don't know, I'm going to do a giveaway of some kind. I'll probably do a gift card. People suggested giving away like one of my favorite foundations, but again, the reason we need the spreadsheet is because everybody has different preferences, different levels of coverage, different finish preferences, different levels of needing blurring or pore smoothing or lines. You know, we all have different preferences, so I think it'll probably be like a gift card kind of a giveaway. This is the Lawless Mascara, the one and done mascara. So that will be coming. Keep your eyes peeled for my 7-year anniversary and my 300 foundation review landmark milestones. Milestones, that's the word. Because those things are coming up. I will be doing celebratory things for that, along with these celebratory things for my Patreon launch, which is just the beginning. The kitten just stepped on the shade walking stick. She is probably getting it all over my vanity right now. We're going to close the eyeshadow palette. You're bad. You can't see her, I don't think. You might have seen her go through the camera. I'm not sure. Did she? Did she not? Oh, she's knocking things down. Have you guys had a kitten in your house lately? It's good fun. She is 10 months old now. And she's wonderful and a wild child. She's an absolute wild child. Oh, I am out of my pokey. Oh, I got one left. My pokey what are these called? Q-tips. So I have big plans, y'all. Big plans. Very little fallout from this palette. In fact, I think my fallout is actually my mascara and not the eyeshadow. So let's get this look together. I do have some lip gloss on right now. It is one of the new CoverGirl ones. The Clean Fresh Yummy is what it's called. I want to point out, this has nothing to do with anything. I bought 2 shades of it. I can't get this one open. I had posted on my Instagram and tagged CoverGirl that I can't get it open. It won't twist open. Apparently, they had a manufacturing problem. Some of them are too tight. Several of you reported that you were able to get it open with pliers or the help of a husband and pliers. I haven't tried that yet, but CoverGirl did reply to me and say that if I contact customer service, I can get a replacement. So, that's a thing. I didn't do that yet, but that is a thing. I think I'm going to use a shade here. This is the Infallible Pro Gloss from, it's L'Oreal, right? L'Oreal Infallible? I can't read it yet. It's L'Oreal. This is shade 880, and this is the Longwear Gloss, and I love it. This gloss stays looking and feeling glossy for a long time, and I very much enjoy it. All right, I'm going to blot just a little bit. All right, here's the finished look. So, where do you go? What do you do? How do you get involved in my Patreon? So, I've got 3 different tiers available. The Guppy tier is kind of like the Guppy tier here on YouTube. You will be able to, on the Patreon website, access the posts that are available to patrons only, so people that subscribe. That tier will be a $3 per month tier. The thing with Patreon is that you can start it and stop it and pause it and resume whenever you want. You'll also get 10% off Geek Out of Water merchandise at that tier, which you also currently get if you are on the join button, the membership in my YouTube channel. The second tier is kind of like the Goldfish tier here on the YouTube join option. It's going to be the Tetra Fish tier. It is a $7 a month tier on Patreon. You'll get access to the Discord chat room that I have available. I will be doing a monthly live stream for the Tetra tier and above over on Patreon. I do feel like I have a cat hair on my face. And you will also get priority for making requests for reviews and products you want me to look at, or eye looks, or whatever kinds of requests you want to make. To get access to the Roll a Look app, all of its future happenings, all of the things I plan to do with the Foundation app and spreadsheet, the new and improved versions of those things, that will be the Goldfish tier on Patreon. It will not be available through the YouTube join option because there's no way for me to tie it to my website, so they don't give me any ways to get outside of YouTube. You will have access to that and whatever other apps and tools I make available, so there is definitely more coming. You will have access to, I'm going to do a weekly article over on Patreon, basically an Ask Me Anything kind of a thing, whether you want to ask me about me or ask me about makeup or ask me anything. And I will be writing up a weekly post on Patreon for access to that. You will also get to vote on the content that I am making for YouTube, so I will put forth any options that I've got floating around my head. You guys will vote and pick, and you will have access to that. You'll also have access to discounts on my handmade shop, Quirky Creators, which we currently have handmade cold processed soaps and earrings, and there is more coming in that business as well. And eventually there will be more options. That is where I am starting out with Patreon. So you can check out patreon.com/geekoutofwater. I will have it linked down below. I will also link down below the demo version of the Roll a Look app that has 2 palettes available for you to just see how it works and what it does and get a preview of all of that. So that's my big news. And I thank all of you that have stuck around this past, whether you've been here 7 minutes or 7 years. I know a bunch of you are OG from the very, very like sub 1,000 subscribers beginning. I see you. I know you're here. I know you're my OGs. I appreciate your support. And I just hope we can really do some fun things together. I think my main focus, and as I can financially begin to step more into this, is building things that help make your experience better and things that can help bring you to a point where you feel creative with beauty and makeup and you feel confident with beauty and makeup. Because when you feel that in your soul, when you just feel that good about yourself, you are just better at everything in your life. It's just, mindset is everything. And I wish I learned that sooner in my life, because it took me probably into my 40s. And this YouTube channel was a lot of developing that and getting myself to this point where I feel confident and I feel worthy and I feel like I am who I am, and I am not apologizing. I am embracing it. It's been wonderful, and I hope we all can share that feeling. So thank you very much. Please feel free to check out my Patreon. Whatever level you are able to support, I appreciate. If you are not able to financially join the Patreon, please share it with a friend. Share my videos. Like me, like my posts here on Instagram. I'm on TikTok as well. I appreciate you guys. Your comments, your likes, your shares, you are awesome. And thank you. So let's do this. Let's have some fun. Let's grow this thing even bigger than this awesome community that we have built so far. Let's do this. There you have it. I've been wanting to make this video for so long. Woo! Finally, there is more to come. I'm so excited. And I'm very, very happy to have you along for the ride. As always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.